The discovery setting the year is 2847. The Galactic Union consists of 12 peaceful alien races who have lived in harmony for over 1,000 years. War is a forgotten concept, existing only in ancient history books. The galaxy's most advanced species, the tall blue-skinned Veltari, lead the Union with their superior technology and wisdom. The Discovery Captain Dex of the Veltari exploration vessel Starseeker receives an urgent transmission. A mining crew on the dead world of Kepler 442c has found something extraordinary buried beneath miles of rock and ice. The planet was thought to be lifeless for millions of years, but deep scans reveal a massive metallic structure. Dr. Nova, the Union's lead archaeologist, joins the expedition. She's a small, gray-skinned Quellan with 4 arms and a brilliant mind. The structure they uncover is unlike anything in their databases. Sleek, angular, and made from an unknown metal that seems to absorb light. The object is enormous, stretching for nearly 2 miles underground. It appears to be some kind of vessel, but the design is aggressive and militaristic, concepts the peaceful Union barely understands. Weapon-like protrusions dot its hull, and the entire structure radiates an ominous energy, even in its dormant state. The first clue's ancient. Markings cover the hull in a language none of their translation computers can decode. The symbols are harsh and angular, unlike the flowing scripts of known civilizations. Carbon dating proves impossible. The metal seems to exist outside normal time, as if it's been waiting in some kind of stasis. Engineer Rex, a stocky rock-like granite who specializes in ancient technology, begins careful scans. His equipment detects massive power cores still functioning after countless millennia. Whatever this thing is, it's not truly dead, just sleeping. The team discovers an access port that seems designed for smaller beings than any current Union species. Dr. Nova's excitement grows as she realizes they found evidence of a completely unknown civilization. The military design troubles Captain Dex, but scientific curiosity wins over caution. The activation against protocol. Dr. Nova decides to attempt activation of what appears to be a scanning system. She believes it will help them understand the vessel's origins. Rex warns that the power levels are dangerous, but Nova is convinced they can handle whatever ancient technology they might awaken. Using a combination of Union energy cells and careful reverse engineering, they manage to establish a connection to the vessel's systems. At first, nothing happens. Then, deep within the structure, lights begin to flicker. A low humming fills the excavation site. Suddenly, the entire vessel shudders to life. Emergency lights bathe everything in harsh red. Strange symbols flash across surfaces that transform into display screens. The team realizes too late that they haven't just activated a scanner. They've awakened something that was meant to stay asleep. The final scene shows the vessel's main systems coming online. Deep in its core, something that has waited in darkness for over 3,000 years begins to stir. Ancient protocols activate. Threat assessment programs boot up. And somewhere in the depths of the ship, a voice speaks in a language that once struck fear across half the galaxy. Emergency protocols activated. Crew status unknown. Threat level analyzing. Initiating combat readiness sequence. First contact. The awakening the massive vessel fully powers up, its hull shifting and transforming as hidden weapon systems emerge. Captain Dex orders immediate evacuation, but it's too late. Energy barriers trap the research team inside the excavation site. From within the ship, a figure emerges, tall, bipedal, with pale skin and strange patches of hair. The being wears a black uniform marked with symbols that match the ship's hull. This is humanity's first contact with the galaxy in over 3 millennia. Commander Jack awakens from the longest cryosleep in human history. His ship, The U.E.S. Vengeance went dark during humanity's final battle against an alien invasion that nearly destroyed Earth. The automated systems kept him alive, waiting for the right conditions to revive him. The confusion Jack's first sight is a group of alien beings staring at him in terror. His training kicks in. These aren't the insectoid devourers who destroyed his world, but his protocols mark all non-humans as potential threats. The language barrier makes communication impossible. Initially, Dr. Nova attempts peaceful contact, using universal mathematical concepts and simple pictographs. Jack is confused by their obviously advanced technology, combined with their apparent lack of weapons or military bearing. In his time, no civilization survived without a strong military. Rex accidentally triggers a security system while trying to document the technology. The ship's defensive protocols interpret this as an attack. Automated turrets emerge from the walls, targeting the Union team. Jack quickly overrides the system, saving their lives. His first act that suggests humans might not be the monsters the Union fears. The translation using the ship's advanced computers and the Union's translation technology, basic communication, becomes possible. Jack learns that 3,000 years have passed since his ship went dark. The Union representatives learn they've awakened a warrior from a dead civilization. Jack's questions reveal the stark difference between human and Union thinking. He asks about their military strength, defensive capabilities, and territorial boundaries. The Union team struggles to explain that they have no military. The concept of warfare died out centuries ago. In their part of the galaxy, the revelation that his species might be extinct hits Jack hard. He accesses the ship's long-range sensors and finds no trace of human signals anywhere in known space. Earth's location shows only a dead system, its planets dark and cold. The warning, as Jack learns about the peaceful Union, fragments of his memories return. The Devourers weren't just humanity's enemy. They were a galactic plague that consumed entire civilizations. His ship was part of humanity's last desperate attempt to stop them. Captain Dex grows concerned as Jack describes human military history. Tales of planetary bombardments, stellar engineering used as weapons, and fleets that could glass worlds in hours paint humans as the most dangerous species the galaxy has ever known. But Jack warns them of something worse. The Devourers didn't just attack randomly. They followed expansion patterns, consuming galaxy sectors in a predictable sequence. If his calculations are correct, they're due to arrive in Union space within months. The Union team doesn't believe him at first. Their long peace has made them forget that the galaxy can harbor truly hostile forces. But Jack's ship contains detailed records of the Devourer invasion, battle footage that shows civilizations far more advanced than the Union being consumed in days. The choice section ends with Jack presenting Captain Dex with an ultimatum. The Vengeance is a warship designed for one purpose: fighting the Devourers. Its weapons could destroy Union worlds as easily as protect them. Jack offers an alliance that makes it clear that with or without Union help, he will prepare for the tone. Coming war. Dr. Nova argues for trust and cooperation, while Captain Dex worries about unleashing humanity's military might on a peaceful galaxy. Rex is fascinated by human technology, but frightened by its destructive potential. As emergency communications flood in from Union worlds reporting strange sensor readings at the galaxy's edge, Jack's warnings begin to seem prophetic. Something is coming, and the galaxy's age of peace may be ending, whether they choose to trust the awakened human or not. The price of peace. Revelation long-range Union sensors confirm Jack's worst fears. Massive energy signatures are moving through space. At the galaxy's outer rim, the same patterns he remembers from humanity's final war. The Devourers have found this galaxy sector and begun their systematic consumption. The Union Council convenes an emergency session. 12 species debate whether to trust the human warrior or attempt to negotiate with the approaching threat. Most Union leaders refuse to believe that any species could be purely destructive. Despite Jack's warnings, Jack demonstrates the Vengeance's capabilities to a horrified Union delegation. The ship's main cannon vaporizes a small moon in seconds. Its manufacturing bays can produce weapons of war at impossible speeds. Most terrifying of all, the ship's AI can calculate battle strategies involving the deaths of billions with cold efficiency. The first attack. Debate ends when the Devourers reach Outer Colony 7. The attack is swift and merciless. The colonies. Peaceful inhabitants send desperate transmissions as living ships descend from space, consuming everything, buildings, people, even the atmosphere itself. Union rescue ships arrive to find nothing but a dead rock where a thriving world once existed. 50 million beings simply gone, processed into raw materials for the Devourer fleet. The reality of what's coming finally sinks in. Captain Dex watches the final transmissions from Colony 7 and realizes the Union's greatest achievement. A millennium of peace has made them completely unprepared for this threat. They have no weapons, no military tactics, no understanding of warfare. Jack studies the attack recordings with grim recognition. The Devourers have evolved since humanity's time. Their ships are larger, their consumption more efficient. Worse, they've learned to process entire planets in days rather than weeks. The preparation. With Union approval, Jack begins the terrible process of turning a peaceful civilization into a war machine. Union manufacturing centers, designed to create art and comfort items, retooled to produce weapons. Scientists who spent lifetimes studying beauty and harmony now learn to calculate destructive yields. Dr. Nova becomes Jack's liaison, helping translate human military concepts for Union minds. She struggles with ideas like acceptable casualties and strategic retreats, concepts that have no equivalent in Union languages. Rex proves surprisingly adaptable to military engineering. His species' natural understanding of structural integrity makes him valuable in designing fortifications. But even he is disturbed by the human approach of planning for destruction rather than creation. The transformation is painful to watch. Union citizens who never imagined violence now train with weapons. Children are evacuated from outer worlds. Trade routes that carried goods and culture for centuries now move military supplies. The cost, the militarization of Union space, comes with a terrible price. Species that lived in harmony for millennia begin to fracture under the stress. The Veltari, long accustomed to leadership through wisdom, struggle with the harsh decisions. Warfare demands. Some Union worlds refuse to participate, believing they can negotiate with the Devourers or hide from them. Jack's attempts to explain that the Devourers don't negotiate fall on deaf ears. These worlds maintain their peaceful ways even as the threat grows closer. Dr. Nova documents the changes in her people with growing sadness. The Union's greatest achievement, the complete elimination of conflict, is being undone in weeks. She begins to understand why Jack seems so haunted by his past. Jack himself struggles with what he's unleashing. The Union's innocence reminds him of humanity before the war, hopeful, creative, believing in the possibility of peace. He knows that even if they survive the Devourer attack, they'll never return to their former selves. The choice. As more outer colonies fall to the Devourer advance, internal conflicts arise within the Union. Some species blame Jack for bringing this curse upon them. Others worship him as their salvation. The unity that made the Union strong begins to crack. Captain Dex faces the hardest decision of his life. Intelligence reports suggest the Devourers will reach the Union's core worlds within months. The military preparations are proceeding, but slowly. The Union might not be ready in time. Jack proposes a desperate alternative. use the vengeance to strike at the Devourer fleet while they're still consuming outer worlds. It's a suicide mission that might buy the Union time to prepare, but it would also leave them without their only military expert. The section ends with the Union Council's vote. By the narrowest of margins, they choose to trust Jack's judgment. But as he prepares the vengeance for its desperate mission, both he and the Union leaders wonder if they've chosen the right path, and whether their civilization will survive the choices they've made. The battle for tomorrow, the Strike Force Jack's solo mission, becomes something larger when Union volunteers step forward. Despite their peaceful nature, representatives from each species insist on joining the attack on the Devourer fleet. They refuse to let the human face the enemy alone. Dr. Nova leads the Union volunteers, her 4 arms making her surprisingly effective at managing the Vengeance's complex weapon systems. Rex integrates Union shield technology with human armor, creating defenses stronger than either species could build alone. Captain Dex commands a small fleet of converted Union ships, vessels never meant for war, but now armed with humanity's deadliest weapons. The sight of exploration ships mounting plasma cannons and missile pods would be absurd if the stakes weren't so high. The combined fleet represents something new: Union idealism, backed by human pragmatism. As they travel toward the Devourer advance, species that barely understood conflict mere months ago now coordinate military strategies. The enemy-revealed long-range scans reveal the true horror of the Devourer force. Hundreds of living ships, each miles long, move through space, consuming everything in their path. They've processed 12 Union worlds already, turning entire civilizations into raw materials for their endless expansion. Jack realizes the Devourers have evolved beyond his knowledge. These aren't the same creatures humanity fought 3 millennia ago. They've grown smarter, more efficient, more deadly. The battle plans based on human experience may be useless. The Devourer ships themselves are revealed to be partially alive, biomechanical horrors that grow stronger with each world they consume. The Union crew watches in sickened fascination as the creatures literally digest a space station, incorporating its metal and technology into their own hulls. Dr. Nova's scientific mind recoils at the perversion of life the Devourers represent. Where the Union created art and beauty, the Devourers create only hunger and consumption. She begins to understand why Jack's people fought so desperately against them. The first strike, the attack, begins with long-range bombardment from the Vengeances. Main guns. Devourer ships die in brilliant explosions, but their deaths only feed the larger vessels. The enemy adapts quickly, their ships changing configuration to present harder targets. Union crews experience combat for the first time in their species. History. The carefully orchestrated violence is both terrifying and necessary. Ships designed for exploration and diplomacy pour fire into living nightmares that consume worlds. Captain Dex coordinates the fleet with grim efficiency, his natural leadership adapting to warfare with disturbing ease. He watches Union vessels take damage and realizes he's learning to think in terms of acceptable losses, a concept that would have horrified him months ago. The battle reveals the true cost of the Union's millennium of peace. Their ships are faster and more advanced than human designs, but they lack the redundancy and durability needed for combat. Every hit that would merely damage a human warship cripples a Union vessel. The sacrifice, as the battle turns against them, Jack makes a desperate decision. The Vengeance contains weapons from humanity's final arsenal, devices so destructive they were never meant to be used except as a last resort. The stellar charges could destroy the entire Devourer fleet, but at a terrible cost. Using the weapons would create a chain reaction that would destabilize the local star system. The explosion would eliminate the Devourer threat, but render several systems uninhabitable for generations. It's exactly the kind of Pyrrhic victory that defined humanity's war. Dr. Nova argues against the plan, insisting there must be another way. Her species' instinct for preservation wars against the tactical necessity Jack represents. The debate rages even as Devourer ships close in for the kill. Rex discovers a third option buried in the enemy's biological structure. The Devourers share a collective consciousness. Damage to their central control organisms might cascade through the entire fleet. It's a risky plan that requires getting close enough to touch the enemy's flagship. The Union's choice in the climactic moments. Captain Dex must choose between Jack's human solution, total destruction that guarantees victory, and Rex's Union alternative, a surgical strike that might save everyone, but could also fail completely. The decision reveals what the Union has learned from humanity. They choose the riskier path not because it's tactically sound, but because it preserves their core values even in the face of annihilation. They would rather die as themselves then, survive as something they don't recognize. The section ends with a combined fleet diving toward the Devourer flagship, Union ships providing cover while the Vengeance carries Rex and his improvised weapon into the heart of the enemy formation. Success means saving the galaxy. Failure means watching the Union burn while the Devourers move on to consume other civilizations. The battle for tomorrow has begun, and its outcome will determine not just who survives, but what kind of galaxy will emerge from the ashes of war. The new galaxy victory and Los Rex's desperate gambit succeeds. His weapon disrupts the Devourer collective consciousness, causing their fleet to turn on itself in confusion. The living ships, no longer coordinated by their central intelligence, begin consuming each other in a feeding frenzy that destroys the entire invasion force. But victory comes at a heavy price. Half the Union fleet is destroyed in the final assault. Captain Dex's ship takes fatal damage while providing cover for the Vengeance. As his vessel breaks apart, he transmits a final message praising the courage of species who chose to fight for their beliefs. Dr. Nova watches the Devourer fleet destroy itself and realizes they've won something more than a military victory. The Union has proven that peaceful civilizations can defend themselves without losing their essential nature. They found a way to fight without becoming monsters. Jack surveys the aftermath with mixed emotions. The battle is won, but he knows this is only the beginning. The Devourers were just one threat in a galaxy full of dangers. The Union's age of innocence is over forever. The transformation returning to Union space, the survivors find a civilization transformed by war. The weapons factories continue producing arms. Military academies train officers who never expected to fight. Children who grew up in perfect peace now practice emergency drills. Some Union worlds have thrived under the pressure, discovering strength they never knew they possessed. Others struggle with the changes, their people traumatized by the end of their peaceful existence. The unity that once defined the Union shows signs of permanent strain. Dr. Nova leads the effort to preserve Union culture while adapting to their new reality. She establishes academies that teach both military strategy and artistic expression, trying to create warriors who remember why they fight. The balance proves difficult to maintain. Rex becomes the Union's first Minister of Defense, a position that didn't exist before humanity's awakening. His natural engineering skills adapt well to military thinking, but he struggles with the moral weight of preparing for future wars. The human question Jack faces a choice that will define his future. The Vengeance could leave Union space, seeking other human survivors or exploring the galaxy alone. His mission to avenge humanity is complete, but the Union offers him something he thought he'd lost forever, a people worth protecting. The Union Council debates what to do with their human ally. Some see him as a necessary guardian against future threats. Others fear that his presence will continue to militarize their society. The question divides species that once spoke with one voice. Dr. Nova advocates for Jack to stay, arguing that the Union needs someone who understands both war and the cost of peace. Her people trust her judgment, but they also fear what humanity represents, the knowledge that peace requires the constant threat of violence. The debate reveals how fundamentally the Union has changed. Their decisions now consider military implications alongside moral ones. They discuss threats and defenses with the same seriousness they once reserved for art and philosophy. The new Balanced Jack chooses to remain with the Union, but on new terms. The Vengeance becomes a mobile guardian, patrolling the galaxy's edges for new threats while the Union worlds rebuild. It's a compromise that satisfies both human pragmatism and Union idealism. The Union establishes the Memorial Worlds, planets dedicated to preserving their pre-war culture and history. Citizens can visit these worlds to remember what they once were and what they're fighting to protect. It's a uniquely Union solution to the problem of maintaining identity during transformation. New institutions emerge that blend human and Union thinking. The Explorer Corps combines military reconnaissance with scientific discovery. The Cultural Guard protects artistic achievements while preparing for their defense. War and peace begin to coexist in ways neither species imagined possible. Trade relationships with other galactic powers shift as the Union's new military capabilities become known. Some civilizations welcome the Union as a protector. Others fear them as a potential threat. The galaxy's power balance shifts in unpredictable ways. The future years pass, and the Union adapts to its new role as the galaxy's guardian. They develop technologies that protect rather than destroy, weapons that disable rather than kill. It's not the pure pacifism of their past, but it's not humanity's brutal pragmatism either. Jack ages gracefully among his adopted people, training a new generation of officers who understand both the necessity of war and the value of peace. He becomes something unique, a human who learned to hope again, and aliens who learned to fight without losing their souls. Dr. Nova documents the transformation in her historical records, creating a testament to how civilizations can change without losing their essential character. Her work becomes required reading for all Union citizens, reminding them of both their peaceful past and their defended future. The story concludes with a new signal from deep space. Another ancient relic has been discovered. But this time, the Union approaches with both caution and confidence. They've learned that awakening sleeping powers can save galaxies or destroy them, depending on the wisdom of those who hold the key. The galaxy is no longer the same, but perhaps it's better, protected by those who remember the value of what they defend. Asterisk.